Here's an interesting question. Suppose you could choose just one health metric to understand better. Would you choose your body weight or your body fat levels? Most people will probably choose weight, yet one of those numbers tells us very little and the other reveals a remarkable amount about metabolic health, insulin resistance, inflammation, longevity, mobility, future disease risk. The reality is that two women can weigh exactly the same and look similar in clothing, yet one may be metabolically healthy while the other is quietly moving towards metabolic syndrome. That's what we're going to be talking about today in this episode of Health in Faith. Episode number 45, Body Fat Levels, 7 questions every Christian over 40 should ask. Are you ready to feel clear-minded, energized, and strong in your body so you can serve God with even greater joy and purpose? Welcome, friend. I'm Laura Hargrave, Master Certified Nutritionist, best-selling author, and health coach with over 20 years of experience helping believers like you live vibrant, spirit-led lives through simple and lasting health habits that truly work. In this podcast, I weave together biblical wisdom, proven science, and a less is more approach to help you burn fat naturally, boost your energy and focus, and restore your body as God's living temple. So grab your green tea or your walking shoes and let's grow in wisdom and wellness that will bless you for years to come. Welcome to Health in Faith. Welcome back to Health in Faith. Or welcome for the first time if you're new here. Brilliant to have you. Do listen along, do visit the website healthinfaith.com as well and subscribe to our newsletter, and I look forward to communicating with you on a more regular basis. So brilliant that you're here. You're very welcome. So I'm Laura Hargrave, Master Certified Nutritionist, and I've been coaching for 2.5 decades at this point in nutrition. And if you're a Christian and you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things for your health and praying and, really earnestly trying to eat better and all the rest of it, but still not seeing the results you've hoped for, then today's episode may help you to see things from a different perspective and will give you some very concrete things that you can do about it. Because sometimes the breakthrough you're looking for isn't found in trying harder. Go and listen to my episode on the unlock code for more about that, episode 43, I think it is. My washing machine story will shed more light on that. But it's found in discovering the missing piece that's quietly holding you back all along. That's often the case. And if you're listening and you'd like help uncovering what that missing piece might be in your own health journey, then I'm kind of like a Columbo of health. I very much put on a detective hat and dive in and dig not in a weird way, in a warm, friendly, compassionate, confidential way. But we can get on the phone together and I can use my decades of experience and expertise and training to identify what the missing piece might be in your health journey through booking a metabolic breakthrough consultation with me. And you can do that at healthinfaith.com/breakthrough. We'll take a personalized look at what's really going on for you and create a clear path forward. So with that said, let's dive into today's episode. Many of our listeners and many of my clients have done all sorts of things to try and improve their health. They've dieted repeatedly, weigh themselves daily sometimes, celebrate losing the pounds, and then panic when the scale rises again. Yet they've never measured their body fat levels. They've never measured muscle mass, and they've never considered whether weight loss was actually muscle loss. And that's a really important thing to look at and to make a distinction between. Imagine reaching your 70s with strength and independence and energy, mobility, mental clarity. Compare that with frailty, dependence on others, not being able to drive, not being able to go where you want to go. I've got a couple of clients in that position. They're utterly dependent on somebody else driving them around and helping them with things like shopping and going to church. Imagine falls, weaknesses, metabolic disease, not to put a downer on things, but this is the reality for so many people, and the difference often begins decades earlier. The positive thing here is that all of this can be absolutely prevented and addressed if we start now. It's like, when was the best time to get into this latest money-making opportunity or this wonderful idea? Probably 10 years ago, but the next best time to do it is now. So let's start today. Scripture tells us that through wisdom a house is built. That's Proverbs 24:3. So our body is a house and wisdom will build it, and foolishness neglects the foundations. And also, just like building a house, you can't just knock something up with a load of effort and hope that it's going to stand and be really solid. Effort doesn't equal wisdom. Many people put a ton of effort in. I was a gym member for 14 years straight, in fact longer than that, when I was at university for another 3 years. So let's say 17 years. And I saw day in, day out people trying very hard, long exercise classes, HIIT classes, running on the treadmill, cycling, weights, and yet many were still carrying excess belly fat, not getting any fitter each year, not getting any healthier each year. And so they were putting all this effort in, but not actually using wisdom. And I saw other people seemingly looking like they were doing very little, very, very gently, and yet had fantastic physiques, were in great health. The difference is wisdom. 2 women, both weigh 170 pounds. And I can think of 2 women in this category, my clients. So both of them weigh 170 pounds. One of them walks daily. She strength trains, does some weights each week. Not a lot, but just a few, couple of little sessions here and there. She eats a good amount of protein, and she has lower body fat levels and higher lean muscle mass. The other woman is same weight, 170 pounds, yet she's sedentary. She's in a job where she's sat down all day. When she finishes work, she doesn't much feel like exercising, so she doesn't. She has muscle loss and she has higher body fat levels. Same weight on paper, but in reality, completely different metabolic futures ahead of them. So going back to our house analogy, 2 houses may look beautiful from the street, but if termites are quietly weakening the structure of one, then appearance only tells part of the story, doesn't it? Equally, we could talk about the foundations, and that's scriptural. A house that's built on the rock will stand. A house that's built on sand won't. Now, obviously, that's referring to our rock, Jesus, hallelujah. But, we can extrapolate that to other things. We need to be building on the right foundations. Which brings us then to 7 questions that I believe every Christian should be asking when it comes to everything to do with body fat levels and weight. So the first question is, let's keep it simple. Do I actually know my body fat levels? So, let's just make an obvious question out of it. Do I know my body fat levels? Most people will know their weight, or roughly their weight, and their clothing size, but very few know body fat percentage, muscle mass, or visceral fat levels. We've talked about that before in previous episodes. And if you're like most people, then you're aware of excess belly fat, and you're aware that it's unsightly and you'd rather not have it, and it bulges over your clothes and it's not doesn't appear great. But also the fact that it is more dangerous. It's a more dangerous type of fat because it hangs around your organs, and it's a really clear indicator of future potential disease. So if you're thinking, well, how do I measure my body fat? The easiest and most accurate way is with what's called a DEXA scan. So you can look this up online, and you'll probably need to go to a local gym or some kind of, health club near you. A doctor may have DEXA scans, but find a DEXA scan near you. I had my DEXA reading done a few years ago, and it was interesting because I found exactly the same as the analogy I gave earlier. Me and a friend both had our body fat levels read. And at the time, I looked bigger than her, appearance-wise, but I actually had quite significantly lower body fat levels than her and more lean mass, lean body muscle. And she had higher fat and lower muscle, which she was quite disgruntled about. But it was an eye-opener in that regard. So DEXA scale is the gold standard, the most accurate. But failing that, then smart scales. So I can't remember the make of it. These scales cost me about £70 a while ago, so they weren't inexpensive. But I got Omron scales, smart scales. But you can get cheaper ones. There, I'm a health practitioner. I have used these with my clients in the past. So you can pick up a pair of smart scales for probably £20 or £30, and that will give you a fairly accurate reading on your body fat levels. Not as good as DEXA, but it's a good second best. And in-body scans as well would be another option. So you can't steward, and we can't know, well, what is my body fat levels unless we've measured. This goes back to, I've talked about it before a little bit, my Tandem Waltz 4-step metabolic health framework. And you can get my free metabolic health guide, which goes into detail on this Tandem Waltz 4-step framework at healthinfaith.com. And Tandem Waltz is an acronym, and the T in Tandem Waltz stands for testing. We can't improve what we don't know. So if we're randomly taking supplements, hoping that we're going to hit any mineral deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, it's like the carpet bomb approach doesn't work, and it can do more harm than good. So with this, we need to be testing, what are your body fat levels? So that's question number one to be asking yourself and to be finding out. Number two is you need to ask yourself, am I losing fat or losing muscle? If you've lost weight at all, if you're on a diet, am I losing fat or am I losing muscle? This is one of the most dangerous mistakes that women make after 40. Now, I'm speaking in terms of women because most of my clients are women, and many women are concerned with dieting more than men. It's not to say men aren't concerned about their weight, but, more women are. So crash dieting, severe calorie restriction, and muscle loss go hand in hand. And also the other thing is muscle loss accelerates with age as well. So by the way, I link any studies to back what I'm saying up in the show notes. I create a full blog post, comprehensive, detailed, long-form blog post that goes with every episode of Health and Faith. So for more details and links that I might mention, do check out this episode's blog post. Just go to healthandfaith.com, click on podcast, and then you'll see a list of all the episodes, and just pick this one, which is episode 45. So muscle loss accelerates with age, and that's called sarcopenia. So with this in mind, our goal isn't, I want to lose weight, I want to become lighter, I want that number on the scale to come down. The goal should be becoming stronger, building muscle. And when we build muscle, the outworking of that is that naturally, more often than not, then in building muscle, we will also reduce fat as well. Ecclesiastes 9:10 says, whatever your hands find to do it with your might. So there is a principle of excellence here. Let's do this right. Let's not do a sloppy job of crash dieting, GLP-1 medications and injections and all that nonsense. Quick fixes that come back to bite you big time, rather than doing things in a well-proportioned, good principles of stewardship way, if you know what I mean. So question number 3 to ask yourself is my body fat stored in dangerous places? Now, I'm going back to that type of fat that we mentioned earlier, visceral fat. So if you have visceral fat, abdominal obesity, carrying either a lot of excess adipose fat tissue around your belly, so surface fat, or deep core visceral fat, which a DEXA scan will show, or indeed liver fat, so fatty liver disease, those are heavily connected to metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and inflammation, and they are not good predictors of a good metabolic future. So not all fat behaves the same way. People that are carrying a bit of extra fat around their arms and legs but have a lean waist are often fine metabolically, or much better off than people with skinny arms and legs carrying a big midsection. So is my body fat stored in dangerous places? If it's all congregating around your midsection, then the answer is yes, and we need to do something about that. Question 4 is, am I becoming stronger or simply smaller by dieting? Modern diet culture celebrates shrinking, again, just going back, that number in the scale coming down, looking smaller in a dress. Biblical stewardship, however, values strength and health over just pure aesthetics. And, let's be real, we all want to look good as well. We want to look better. We want to feel good in our clothes. We want to fit into those clothes. If you're like most of us, then you'll have clothes in the back of your wardrobe that you're keeping because I will get back into them one day. And I really want to wear those pair of jeans that have been sat there for 25 years, and I'm going to get back into them soon. And maybe you're thinking, next week is the week that I'm going to start losing weight, and I'm going to become more disciplined, and that scale is going to reach under XYZ weight. And so, we've all thought like that. And if you have had any of those thoughts, then you're probably possibly wondering, is there a better way to do it? Because, the definition of insanity is doing what you've always done and expecting a different result. So I would put to you that metabolic health is where you need to focus your attention, and that will be the different way that gets you, is the keys to the kingdom in terms of weight loss and metabolic health, and losing that visceral fat and having more strength and energy. So when you're in good metabolic health and you feel strong, not just smaller, but you can have both, that's a good thing, then you've got more energy for your grandchildren and children. You've got more options to travel. You can serve more fully and more, you can give more to your ministry. Strength becomes freedom. And that's what Christ wants for us, isn't it? He came to give us freedom, and life to the full, life in abundance. Proverbs 31 says she girds herself with strength, not she girds herself with a tiny, a tiny frame or a size 2 dress. She girds herself with strength. So that's important. That's a good thing for us to remember. Question 5 to be asking ourselves about our body fat levels are my body fat levels reflecting my daily habits? Oftentimes this can be a bit of a, that's uncomfortable to think about. So protein, are we getting enough protein? Are we getting enough sleep? If we're not getting enough of either of those, then cortisol levels can be higher through lack of sleep. Protein levels, low protein means that you're eating more carbohydrates and fat, and both of those together with low protein can cause higher body fat levels, and again, belly fat, visceral fat. Am I moving enough? How are my stress levels? Are you eating ultra processed foods? So all of these things reveal or will be revealed in your body fat levels. Your body fat, especially around the middle, doesn't lie. If there's bad habits going on, lots of stress, lack of sleep, processed foods, it will show on your midriff section. So they're kind of like, your body fat levels are a bit like a report card on your lifestyle, and they tell tales. So it's very hard to hide a lifestyle that's not what it could be. It's not optimal when you're carrying excess belly fat. And by the way, if you're feeling, oh my goodness, all right, just rub it in, why don't you? I'm not here to condemn. I'm here to highlight, to do something about it, because we don't want to go on blindly. Oh, let's just keep praying. Let's just keep going to the church prayer meetings and ask for healing, and then carrying on with our ultra-processed food lifestyle, unhelpful habits, or simply not knowing about these metabolic factors that are the different way that will trip that switch to improve your metabolic health. So I'm shedding light on things for your benefit, and I hope and trust that this will really help you. So question 6 is, am I preparing for healthy aging or for frailty? Most of my clients I work with are past their 50s. I work with anyone really from 40 upwards. Most of my clients are not only over 50, they're probably over 60, 70. And I've got some clients in their 80s, and the oldest client I've worked with has been 90. So it's something that very much is probably on your mind. You know, once we get past 40, we start thinking about these things. Certainly when we get past 50, 60, and if you've had any experience with caring and seeing friends around you struggle with ill health, maybe even, you know, passing away, then this will be something that you're thinking about, and you're probably wondering and hoping, am I able to prepare well for healthy aging rather than frailty? Many people, though, fear wrinkles or grey hair, those types of things. But what we should be, you know, mindful of is the issue of frailty, bone density decreasing, brittleness, inflexibility in muscles and things, because those things can lead to and do lead to falls and muscle loss, which in turn, both of those things are strongly related to a loss of independence. If you look at the statistics on people who have a fall, it's not good. It's not good. And loss of independence and worse can often occur if we're not metabolically resilient. So we want to be healthy not only now, but into our 70s and 80s, Lord willing, don't we? They shall bear fruit in old age, says Psalm 92:14. So we want to be that fruitful person that brings forth fruit in old age, don't we? Because it's not about necessarily living to a huge age, like, oh, I want to live to 120, as I hear some people saying, but we want to live the days that we have well, don't we? We want to be mobile, we want to be free, we want to do it with joy, we want to feel good in our skin. So whatever, you know, none of us knows how long we're going to live for. Only the Lord does, but we want to live those days well, don't we? So the final question to ask yourself would be, what would wise stewardship look like from here? So if maybe you've listened to the prior 6 questions I've posed to you and thought, oh, I'm not doing so well there, or, yeah, she's called me out on that, or, well, I don't know, actually, I'm not sure the answer to that, then the good news is that question 7 kind of resolves all of this. What would wise stewardship look like from now? We can't change the past, but we can change from here on in, can't we? So this brings everything together. We're not looking for perfection. We're not looking for vanity. Again, appearance is a part. You want to look and feel good, but it shouldn't be an obsession, and that's not what we're focusing on here. It's wisdom, consistency, and stewardship with our body and health and body fat levels, to put a fine point on it in this episode. What is healthy body fat levels for me, and how can I get there? And that's the question, isn't it? That's the $1 million question. Well, how can I do that at my age when I've tried dieting? I'm frustrated with gaining and losing and gaining the same 5-10 pounds. I don't like sometimes what I see in the mirror. So there is another way in metabolic health. So instead of asking how much do I weigh, start asking, what is my body made of? What is its constitution? Because body fat levels reveal far more about your metabolic future than the scales ever will. Okay? So, before we finish, I want to leave you with one final thought. So to recap, for years, many people may be asking the wrong question. How much do I weigh? Yet the more important question may be, what is my body becoming? What's its constitution? And what are the future prospects given the lifestyle that I have? That's a set of questions, but those are the questions to be asking. Because every day, whether we realize it or not, we are moving in a direction. We're either building strength and vitality, or we're withering, it's withering, we're losing it. We're either protecting muscle or surrendering it. We're either improving metabolic health or quietly allowing dysfunction to take root. And it does do that. It does it very quietly over many years until suddenly, type 2 diabetes, cancer, heart disease, stroke, Alzheimer's, all metabolic diseases, by the way. The encouraging news is that most of these changes don't happen overnight. And that's precisely why there is so much hope. Because if you've been frustrated by stubborn weight, discouraged by the number on the scales, confused about your metabolism, or simply wondering why your body is no longer responding in the way that it once did, I'm sure you understand that after 40, 50, your body responds in a different way. You can't do the same things that you did in your 20s and 30s to lose weight easily and feel good. It doesn't work that way anymore, unfortunately. And perhaps the issue isn't that you're failing or you need more willpower. It may be, just maybe, you've been measuring the wrong things, as we've been talking about here. So perhaps you've been trying to solve a body composition problem with weight loss solutions. And maybe you've been working hard without first understanding what your body needs at its core. Once you see that, everything starts to look different. So instead, imagine knowing exactly where you stand metabolically. Imagine knowing what your body fat levels are, your muscle mass, any symptoms, habits, and health markers, what they're trying to tell you, using those things as like signals on your dashboard to tell you what's going on, and using that for wise action rather than just panic or ignoring it and hoping for the best. Imagine having a clear plan rather than jumping from one piece of health advice to another, one blog post, one YouTube video, one magazine tip to the next, all contradicting each other and hoping that something finally works. And most importantly, imagine looking ahead 5 or 10 years and feeling confident that the daily choices you're making right now today are moving you towards strength, vitality, independence, and fruitfulness rather than frailty, medications, and decline. That's exactly why I created the Metabolic Breakthrough Consultation. During this 60-minute private session, we'll uncover what's really driving your health challenges, identify hidden metabolic roadblocks, and we'll create a personalized strategy to help you restore your energy, to improve your body composition, and build a stronger future. So all the stuff we've been talking about today, we'll look at that in a very personalized way for you and identify what's going on. Because your goal isn't simply to lose weight, it's to remain strong enough to fully live that life that God has called you to live in this season of life, to have energy for your family, to have strength for your calling, vitality for the years ahead, to be, as Psalm 92 says, fresh and flourishing and still bearing fruit in old age. So if that resonates with you, I'd love to help. Book your Metabolic Breakthrough Consultation today and let's begin building that stronger future together. Right now, there's a discount on that's only on for a short time. So you can check it out, have a read through the page and book your one-on-one session with me. If you feel that this is speaking to you, you can do that at healthinfaith.com/breakthrough. Thanks so much for listening today to Health in Faith, our podcast here for Christians to equip you to live healthy in the unhealthy world that we live in. If you enjoyed the show and appreciate it, then do share it with a Christian friend. And would you take, literally it takes 20 seconds, just go on to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review, a 5-star review. I read everyone and I look forward to speaking to you again on the next episode of Health in Faith.